time for Africa is now, a call to action for good governance and prosperity. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Freedom Giant Mamadou Salah, and I am from the Gambian Anatomy. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Secretariat of African Voices International for this incredible opportunity to speak to you today. Today, I want to talk about something vital to the future of our continent. The time for Africa is now. We stand at a pivotal moment, a crossroads, where the decisions we make today will determine the prosperity and well-being of our generations to come. So on that note, we will go into details and some points to understand why we say the time for Africa is now. Number one point we have here is the Africa's potential, a continent of untapped opportunities. We understand that Africa is a continent blessed with opportunities. So here we look at demographic advantage. Africa possesses the world's youngest and fastest growing population. By 2050, it is projected to account for at least 1/4 of the global workforce. So this number is important. This statistics is vital when looking at the demographic advantage rather. This demographic dividend presents a unique opportunity for economic expansion, provided that adequate investments are made in education, healthcare, and job creations. So these things we have to put them in education, healthcare, and job creations. When we go further into the potentials of Africa, we have abundant natural resources. The continent is rich in natural resources, including minerals, oils, gas, and arable land. These resources have the potential to fuel economic growth and development, but effective management and governance are crucial to ensure that their benefits are shared equitably and sustainably. Because when we have minerals, when we have oils, gases, and lands without a proper management or economic growth, this will not work for your country or for your continent. So we need to understand that. Also, we have rapid urbanization. Africa is experiencing rapid urbanization, with cities becoming centers of economic activities and innovations. This urbanization trends presents both opportunities and challenges, including the need for infrastructure development, job creation, and effective urban planning. Because when I look at my provinces, the youths are always going to the urban areas in search of better work opportunities. So there, the governments have to put what we call job creation into plan and then infrastructure development. We also look at innovation. The continent is witnessing a surge in innovation across various sectors, including fintech, clean energy, and technology. These innovations have the potential to drive economic growth, improve service delivery, and address some of Africa's most pressing challenges. When we take an example from China, those people are beyond expectations. Their innovations are just incredible. We cannot even imagine how they do their clean energy and their technology. So we have to learn from those people in order to also innovate something of reasonable things to Africa. We have consumer spending. Africa has the potential to unlock trillions in consumer spending, driven by its growing population and rising incomes. This presents a significant opportunity for businesses and investors, but it also requires addressing issues such as income inequality and access to finance. We see how Africa is rich in minerals and in resources. So here we need to unlock the consumer spending. Yeah, because if we do not do that, it's going to pose us some challenges. So the opportunity for business and investors should be there in order to unlock this consumer spending. We go to number two, that is the demographic dividend a youthful advantage. Yeah. So harnessing the power of Africa's youth, we look at the largest workforce. Africa is projected to have the world largest working age population by 2040. Imagine this calculation or this statistics. So this is a huge number to us, and this is a huge advantage to Africa. So the continent need to buckle up in order to reach this level. This demographic shift can drive economic growth if the workforce is properly skilled and employed. So if the workforce is properly managed and skilled, it will obviously drive us what we call economic growth. We have entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is high among youth Africans who are increasingly seeking to create their own businesses and drive innovations. Example is one of my people around here, that is Shady Khan. He's a man that is also into entrepreneurship. So we have to also give these people a supporting hand in order to make sure that we have an economy that is of good level. So supporting entrepreneurship through access to finance, training, and mentorship is crucial for harnessing these potentials. Yeah. So we need to also give a supporting hand to entrepreneurship in order to give the youths a job creation. We have investment needs. Realizing the demographic dividend requires significant investment in education, skills development, and job creation. Investment needs. So here we have to look at the places or the sectors that we need the most and invest in them. That is education, number one. Without education, a country cannot succeed at all. Because if you are not educated, you find it very difficult to even use what you have learned. So you need to be educated in order to unlock your potentials, in order to see diverse aspects of the world and apply your skills. Also, we have demographic transitions. Africa is experiencing a slow demographic transition, driven by high fertility rates and low levels of urbanization. To accelerate this transition and reap the benefits of the demographic dividend, countries need to invest in family planning, that is number one, healthcare and education. So these are the three things that one needs to invest in order to influence the demographic transition, that is moving to higher fertility rates and low level of urbanization. In order to remove that, we have to invest in demographic transition. So we have economic growth. If African countries continue to make economic progress, the demographic dividend could contribute to 11 to 15% of GDP growth by 2030 and help reduce poverty by 40 to 60 million people. That is, sorry, that is released by World Bank. So that is of economic growth. Number 3 point that we can talk about here is the economic transformation. We have to shift from extraction to service and manufacturing. That is economic transformation. So number one here, that is looking at diversifying Africa's economic. We have to look at different aspects of the economy. So number one is sector shift. A key aspect of economic transformation is the shift from agriculture and extraction to services and manufacturing. So we have to shift from extraction and then agriculture to services and manufacturing. If you are just extracting, you are just doing agriculture, but you are not able to do the services, you are not able to manufacture, you are not able to distribute, that is going to be another problem. So our economy needs to transform to another level. This diversification can create more opportunities, increase productivity, and reduce reliance on volatile commodity prices. So if you are able to shift from extraction and agriculture to service and manufacturing, this will be able to give you more productivity and reduce reliance on volatile commodity prices. So service sector. The service sector is imagined as a major driver of economic output and job creation in Africa. This includes sectors such as tourism, finance, and telecommunications. So we have to go, or we have to delve into services sectors as well in order to transform our economy. We look at productivity. Improving productivity across all sectors is essential for driving economic growth and competitiveness. This requires investment in technology, infrastructure, and skills development. So, if you need a better productivity, you have to invest in technology. Nowadays, if I'm able to talk to 100 people at once or in a second, in 2 seconds, it's because of technology. So, if our technology is improved, our infrastructure is also improved, and skills are developed, we will have a better productivity. I believe so. We look at bioeconomy in order to transform our economic. Africa has the opportunity to develop a vibrant bioeconomy based on its rich natural resources. This includes sectors such as agriculture. We understand that from the word "bi" is of living things, or from biology. So we have to delve into agriculture. We have to delve into forestry and biotechnology. So these are the things that we look at as bioeconomy. So bioeconomy is also a vibrant base that we have to look at in order to unlock our economic transformation. We look at the AFCTA, that is the African Continental Free Trade Area, that is AFCFTA, is a game changer for intra-African trade and economic integration. This is a game changer by reducing trade barriers and promoting regional value chains. This is a game changer. For instance, nowadays what the Gambia is facing, we understand that if Gambia is to import something or to bring in something, that thing has to go through Senegal. So in that, Senegal will have to put more taxes on people that are to import those things to the Gambia. So this is causing us price inflation. So that should not be in Africa, because we are all one. Africa is a continent of black people that we love each other very much. So on that note, these game changers should be there. Yes, that is for for intra-African trade and economic integration by reducing the barriers and promoting regional values change. The AFCFTA can boost economic growth and create new opportunities for businesses and entrepreneurs. So that is the case we are looking at. We also have trade. Trade is another aspect we look at in order to transform our economy. Imports from the global south are more influential in driving structural change. So here we are saying that imports from global south are more influential in driving structural change, while those from the global north are more effective in facilitating productivity convergence. That is from World Bank. Sorry. So trades here we are looking at the imports from the global south are more influential in driving structural change. So if we need structural change, then we need to import from the global south. If we need also a productivity convergence, then we need to import from the global north. Number 4 point that we have here, we are going to look at the challenges of governance. We understand that in every aspect there must be some challenges. So the obstacles to the progress is what we are looking at here. So in addressing the governance deficit, the key issues here is corruption, where poor leadership and weak institutions are major obstacles to progress in Africa. So these are the major obstacles in Africa here that we are looking at. So these key issues, they undermine economic growth, determine, they also, like, let's say it deter the investment and then perpetuate social inequalities. So this should be looked into, that is corruption, poor leadership, and weak institutions. If governance should be good governance, then corruption should be out of it. Poor leadership should not be allowed or should not be tolerated, because one needs to be leadership oriented in order for you to be in governance. So we look at transparency. This is also a challenge that we face. Lack of, I'm sorry. So we move into transparency. Lack of transparency and accountability in government operations limit public access to information and makes it difficult to hold officials accountable. Like I was watching one newsman from the Gambia, that is Peter Gomez. He is a person that have a radio, sort of. So he normally calls ministers or even aspiring candidates for the presidency and then talk to them about what they have for the country. So when I was watching that, he was like asking the information minister that why is it that some ministers move out of the country without even letting the public know that yes, they are moving out in order for to benefit the country. So this should be looked at. Transparency is very, very important. That is everywhere, whether it's institution, whether it's government, whether it's at your home. Transparency is very, very important. Yeah. So we move into political instability. Political instability and conflict create a hostile environment for development and undermine governance. When you look at the Israel and Gaza problem still now, this political instability will obviously undermine the governance because there will not be a proper governance when there is no stability. So this also need to be looked at. We need to look at things that are of peace. We need peace in order to hasten or in order to bring Africa to a level that we want. Another challenge is restrictive laws. Restrictive laws that limit press freedom and civic activity, stifle dissent, and hinder demographic development. These laws, let's say, these are laws that try to restrict people or us as freedom people to say what we want or to be free. So this should not be. This is also another challenge to what we call good governance. So restrictive laws should be, a way for different aspect, but not for people of free will like us who can, have the freedom to speak. We have human rights. Weak regional human rights mechanisms fail to adequately protect the rights of citizens. From the restrictive law, we go to human rights. So human rights of weak, that is going to jeopardize the people's freedom. Because if I'm to be aware that there is a weak human right for me over there, I cannot be speaking freely in the public. But if there is a strong human right mechanism that is out there, then I can be able to speak freely outside and then see what is in me and then also choose the right protocols in order to do my protest. But this is a different case, and this is also a case that is also hindering good governance. We have the corruption cost. The African Union estimates that the corruption and mismanagement drain billions of dollars annually, hindering development efforts. So this corruption cost, we will be talking about corruption from day one to the last day, but still, I don't know where the corruption lies exactly. But then corruption is a major problem in Africa as we speak. We have number 5, that is the cost of poor governance. When there is a poor governance, we obviously understand that there will be a cost attached to it. And that is the cost now we are going to look at. Now, the economic price of dysfunctional governance. Here we are looking at the economic impact. Poor governance hinders economic growth and deters investors. That is very, very true. Corruption and mismanagement drain significant GDP, limiting Africa to raw material export instead of becoming a global manufacturing leader. So this is also a cost of poor governance. If there is poor governance, this is the cost that we are going to face. Social impact. Poor governance undermines democratic principles and perpetuates social inequalities. So that is also another cost of poor governance. This can lead to social unrest and instability. We have erosion of trust. When there is poor governance, obviously we have erosion of trust. Poor governance erodes the social contract between citizens and their governments, undermining the legitimacy of the state. So if we have erosion of trust, obviously that is not going to help the people and the government itself. The government need to have the trust from the people, and the people need to also trust their government in doing what is right. So number sixth point that we are going to look at is the path to good governance. We already look at the obstacles of government, good governance. We have uh, the cost of poor governance. Now we are looking at the path to good governance. When you look at the obstacles, you look at what we call the cost of poor governance. Now we are looking at the path to good governance, the key principles that we need to follow in order to have a governance that we want, building a foundation for prosperity. Now we look at accountability and transparency. Promoting accountability and transparency is in government operations is essential for building trust and reducing corruption. If there is accountability and transparency, this will enhance the trust and reduce the corruption level in our government. We look at combating corruption. When we have accountability and transparency, then we combat corruption. Establishing effective anti-corruption mechanism is crucial for preventing the misuse of public resources. Like I was, watching on YouTube and on the rest, that Professor Lumumba was serving as an anti-corruption leader in Kenya, and this also is very very important. We need to have people like him, people like Professor Lumumba, in order to fight against corruption. We need to enlighten the youth that is now. We need to enlighten the generation of now in order to fight against corruption. Because if one is not having that education, that civic education, is going to be a problem. So we need to embark on education that is going to enlighten citizens of their rights and how we should be. Also, we go into what we call the citizen participation. Encouraging citizen participation in decision-making progress can improve governance and ensure that policies are responsive to the needs of the people. If a government is to implement a policy, they need to go to the people or to the citizens. We need to be enlightened. We need to be put into picture that this is going to happen, or this is what we want to do as a government. Yes, and when we are put in the picture, then we are going to be able to, let's say, also have our rights to say that this is going to favor us, or this is going to, affect us in the wrong way. From there, we strengthen institutions. Institutions like, let's say, the universities, the colleges, the workplaces, wherever that we have institutions of belonging to the government, we need to invest in them. We need to, let's say, even the judiciary, the legislative, the civil services places, the ombudsman offices, all these places need to be strengthened in order to promote good governance. If these places or these institutions are not there, that we have strong level of governance, then this is going to affect our way of governing. The rule of law. Promoting the rule of law ensures that all citizens are treated equally under the law and that their rights are protected. So this rule of law is also a part in good governance. When we follow this rule, that we put everyone equal under the law, this is going to help us. But let's say you are a vice president, you are a minister, you do what you feel like to do, and I am just an ordinary citizen, I cannot do what you people are doing. That is not promoting good governance. So therefore, we need to look into the rule of law. Now we have the examples of successful governance in Africa. These are just, let's say, models of good governance. We have to learn from them in order to also be in front. Let's look at Botswana. A prudent management of mining wealth and low corruption have contributed to Botswana's success. So if you look at Botswana, their management is very, very well. They have been managing their mining wealth and their low corruption level in their country. So this is an example that we need to look at, or we need to learn from these countries. Rwanda is rebuilding after conflict with advanced institutions. Models has enabled Rwanda to achieve significant progress in governance and development. So Rwanda is also a successful country, not up to the best or perfect level, but then is a country that we need to learn from in order to also be at the forefront. We have Seychelles. Economic and institutional reforms to address debt crisis have transformed Seychelles into a leader in sound governance. So Seychelles also is a successful country that we need to learn from. We come to the big country that is Ghana. Governance reforms and a new democratic constitution have strengthened democracy and accountability in Ghana. So on that note, we also need to learn from this country. And also Burkina Faso, their president is one of the best right now, that is doing well. We also need to learn from these countries. We have Mauritius. All these countries, or aforementioned countries, are countries that we need to learn from in order to move Africa to a level that we want. Going further into the discussion, we going to look at the role of technology in transforming governance. We understand that now at this moment we are, technology is one of the things that we cannot leave behind. Technology also helps in transparency and efficiency. So we need to put technology in the forefront. Looking at Kenya as a sample, Kenya's platform, like the Citizens platform, allows over 5,000 government services online. So if we also put technology in the forefront, this can help us communicate faster. It can help us even do our researches. It can help us do our works at a jiffy. So if we do not bring in technology in the forefront, that is going to be a problem for a country. Countries like China are of best technology at this level. So we need to also bring in technology in order to have a good governance in Africa. So we have the African Union, a vision for unity and integration. This vision was visioned by Kwame Nkrumah, and until now we are yet to achieve this African Union. But I'm telling you now that if we want to have the Africa we want now, then we need to have the African Union. That is a vision of unity and integration. If that is not done, then Africa is not going to be like one of the best. So therefore, we need to look at the objectives. Like, let's say the African Union promotes unity. It promotes solidarity and cooperation among African states. So if there is African Union, then we are going to be in solidarity, we are going to be unity, and we are going to be in cooperation. And it also aims to accelerate political and socio-economic integration. So if we are united, or if we have an African Union, then we are going to be politically and socio-economic integrated. And this is a win-win for both countries in Africa. So if you look at the Agenda 2063, the AU's Agenda 2063 provides a strategic framework for socio-economic transformation. So if we are to have this African Union and then follow these agendas, then obviously we are going to be at our best levels, because this provides a strategic framework for socio-economic transformation. That is by 2063. We look at the economic integration. The African Union is implementing key projects under the Agenda 2063 and promoting the adoption of the African Continental Free Trade Area and the Free Movement Protocol to drive regional economic integration and development. So if this African Union is achieved or is done or is implemented, we will have free trade, we will have free economic, that is economic integration. Because if I am to go into Senegal, I don't need to pay much money to go to Senegal. That is when this African Union is achieved. But if this is not achieved, then there will be a problem. We have financial institutions. The African Union aims to create African continental financial institutions to accelerate integration and socio-economic development. Let's say we have the World Bank. We have other banks that is in Europe and other continents. But if we are to have financial institutions in African Union, then this will accelerate integration and socio-economic development. Let's say if all West African countries come together and join together and have financial institutions, let's say have one bank, this bank now, the profit that is earned, it can help be disseminated to other countries in order to boost their development. So the NEPA, that is the New Partnership for Africa's Development, was launched in 2002 as a single framework for bringing together economic development efforts and was fully merged into the AU in 2010. So all these African Union objectives and aims are very, very important that we need to look at these things. It will help us to economic integration. It will help us to financial institutions. It will help us to the new partnership for Africa's development. And also it will, let's say, give us that Agenda 2063 that we want. Also, we head into point number 10. I know our time is far enough from now. We look at a call to action now. That is, the time for Africa is now. So let's seize this moment and do the action. So we need to embrace good governance and prioritize transparency and accountability. That is the call to action. We need to invest in education, skills development, and job creation for the youth. Promote economic diversification and intra-African trade. These are the points that we need to look at. That is call to action. We leverage technology to improve governance and service delivery. We strengthen regional cooperation and integration through the African Union. We harness natural resources sustainably for the benefit of all Africans. So these are call to actions points that we need to look at. We don't need to put this behind. This is very, very important. And in conclusion, the time for Africa is now. Let us work together to build a prosperous, just and sustainable future for our continent. African Voices International, Freedom in Africa. And thank you very much for watching with me. I know it has been a long time, but I believe this is a little that I can provide in order to see Africa to this level.